We started out with Turkish street food last time, and there's nothing wrong with going a little farther east and continue the whole street food theme. This is Keema Pav from India. I would call it Indian sloppy joe. In India, this is served with a simple milk bun, which is very similar in texture and flavor to a burger bun or one of those Hawaiian rolls. I'll show you a trick to pimp up those buns a little later. Of course, being Indian street food, you cannot have this without Raida, which is a spiced up yogurt dip. Let's start with the prep work for the Keema Pav, which is quite minimal. Chop up a pepper. Classic would be a green chili. I'm just using a yellow bell pepper because I had it sitting in the fridge. The other thing you need is some red onion. You chop that up too. And that's already the prep work. Since we're at chopping, I decided to do a quick pickle so we have a nice condiment to put on our bun later. A quick pickle is quite easy. You cut your onions very thin, not too many, just what you need for your buns. Then you have a little bit of water. You add a good amount of vinegar, a good amount of salt, and if you want, you can add a teaspoon of sugar. Stir that up so the salt and the sugar dissolves. Toss in your onions and set aside until you're ready to serve. Let's quickly make the Raida. It's just a handful of ingredients. This is a mixture of sour cream and yogurt, preferably Greek yogurt, but regular yogurt is fine. Indian yogurt is considerably more acidic and considerably creamier than regular yogurt or even Greek yogurt. So adding sour cream to yogurt gets you closer to the original. You could use skyr. That's the hip Icelandic yogurt. I bet pretty much nobody has a tub of that stuff in his fridge. If you do, use it. Otherwise, mix yogurt with sour cream. To this, we add finely grated cucumber. Here's a bunch of spices. As usual, recipe down below. Squeeze in as much garlic as you like and add chopped cilantro, green onions and mint. If you're one of those people with the cilantro taste soapy gene, just use parsley. And there it is. You mix this together, add some pepper and salt to taste, and you have yourself a nice side to go with pretty much any Indian meal. If you think it needs to be a little bit more tangy, just add a dash of lemon juice. There, set aside for later. For the garlic ginger paste I mentioned earlier, here is equal parts of garlic and ginger. I'm just squeezing all of that through into a bowl. Now use a little dash of oil, combine, there. Garlic ginger paste. That easy. And while I preheat my pan, there's time to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another episode. And of course, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you. Add a little bit of ghee to your preheated pan. Of course, any other fat or oil you have at hand is fine too. You would think that the meat is the first to go in. Actually, it isn't. It's the onions. We add our spices and let them get some heat. That done, add the garlic ginger paste. Give it a quick stir. You don't want to burn this, so go quick on this. And then add your tomato paste or crushed tomatoes, whichever you're using. Tomato paste likes a little bit of extra heat, so let this go for about a minute if you're using tomato paste. Now it's time to pop in the meat. And also add a little bit of water at this point, maybe an ounce or two. When you look closely, now you know why I called it Indian sloppy joe. Let's quickly sample and see if we need some seasoning. Yes, we do. You do not want to roast this anymore, so if the water evaporates, just add a little bit more water. Once the meat is almost cooked, it's time to add some veg. I'm going for peas. And of course, the bell peppers we chopped earlier. Now I want some heat in this, so I'm going to use a serrano pepper. I'm just cutting this open, toss it in, and now it's time to let this simmer on the medium heat just for a few minutes, and you should cover it. Since I don't have a lid for this pan, I'm using my trusty old pizza pans. They always work well. Let's see how this turned out. There, Indian sloppy joe. Let me put this aside and cover it again so it stays warm. Now for the buns, heat up another pan, or if you have a griddle, use that. If you have a comal, use that. Some nice hot flat surface is all you need. And this is how you pimp up your buns. Add some butter. Now add some garam masala and paprika. And now toast your buns in this. There. And this is what a pimped up bun looks like. Turn off the stove, it's time for assembly. There's essentially two ways you can serve this. The one way is the classic sloppy joe with a few condiments on top, or you can serve a deconstructed sloppy joe and put everything on a plate and have people use the buns as scoops. Let's start with the bun. Ladle on some sloppy joe goodness. Remember those pickled onions? Now we need a few. Add a dollop of the rider. Or maybe a bigger dollop. There we go. Maybe a little greenery for garnish. And there's your Indian sloppy joe, aka Keema Pav. The second way of doing this is just use a deconstructed version. Add your bun on one side, add some sloppy joe, maybe a few onions, and then of course a generous portion of the rider. I'm just using a little serving dish. And there you have Keema Pav deconstructed, which would also work with some kind of flatbread. And if you're up for something completely different that also comes in a bun, you should watch my German bratwurst recipe next. Excellent.